أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 186, Surah Al-Furqan, ayah number 1 to 20. Surah Al-Furqan is a Makki surah. And this surah was revealed after Surah Yasin. So it was towards the mid-Meccan era. So far, we have learned many surahs of the Quran which include both Makki as well as Madani. And after a group of Makki surahs, which were 14 in a row, we learned Surah An-Nur, which was Madani. And after Surah An-Nur, now again a group of Makki surahs begin. And these Makki surahs are going to be 8 in number in a row, one after the other. And then they're going to be followed by Surah Al-Ahzab, which is a Madani surah. So we see that there's a group of Madani and then Makki and then Madani and then Makki. Why? So that you keep getting a taste of both the surahs. This surah, it has 77 verses, 892 words, and 3,703 huruf. As you may have realized so far, that Makki surahs, they generally cover 3 themes. And what are those 3 themes? First of all, Tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, stories of the prophets, and the purpose of that is to do tasdeeq of risala of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to confirm the truthfulness of the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as the truthfulness of the Quran. Because when the previous messengers are mentioned, what is being proven? That Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not a new messenger. So this is another theme that is covered by the Makki surahs. What is another theme that is covered by such surahs? The hereafter. The belief in the hereafter. So basically, Makki surahs, what do they cover? Belief, imaniyat, matters that are about iman, about aqidah. And Madani surahs generally, what do they talk about? Commandments. How to live Islam, how to follow, what to do, how to live as Muslims. As you may have seen in Surah An-Nur, it was mainly about commands. Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Ma'idah, all of these surahs were about commands. Now, this surah, it covers all of these 3 themes as well. The belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the hereafter, as well as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But in particular in this surah, the truthfulness of the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the truthfulness of the Quran is established. And all of the objections, the various objections that were raised against the Prophet ﷺ, the people of Makkah raised many, many objections against him. They tried to refute him many ways. All of those objections are refuted in this surah. Many of them are refuted. And the objective is what? To prove the truthfulness of Prophet ﷺ, as well as the Quran, and at the same time, tasbeetul qalb. What does it mean by that? To give firmness to the heart of who? The Prophet ﷺ. Because he was facing all of this opposition, this negative propaganda, false accusations, people were raising doubts about him. So when such propaganda spreads about you, you begin to doubt yourself almost as well. You wonder if you should continue doing what you're doing. So the purpose of establishing his truthfulness is what? To give him firmness and stability, the strength of the heart, so that he could continue delivering the message. So let's look at this surah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. تبارك الذي نزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا. Blessed is the one who sent down the criterion upon his servant, that he may be to the worlds a warner. Tabaraka, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greatly blessed, because He is the one who sent the Quran. Tabaraka is from the root letters Ba, Ra, Kaf. The word Barakah is also from the same root, and Barakah is what? Khair, goodness. But what kind of goodness is it? Khairul kathir, abundant good. But abundant good that is as-sabit, that is established, meaning it is permanent. So basically, barakah is when something is a source of good. When something is a source of abundant good, much good. And tabaraka is a verb, and from this when you make the noun, maf'ul, mubarak is one that has barakah in it. Who is mubarak? The one who has barakah in it. Like for example, the Quran is mubarak. Why? Because it is a source of much good. And mubarak is something from which a lot of expected as well as unexpected khair comes. You understand? Mubarak is something or someone from whom a lot of good, whether it is expected or not expected. Whether you thought you could get that benefit or you never even imagined you could get that benefit. All such benefits, all such goodness come from who? From someone who is mubarak. Like for example, Quran is mubarak. How? What is the expected goodness that a person can receive from the Quran? Knowledge. But when a person continues to study the Quran, he realizes that his thinking is changing. He realizes that he's developing more sabr. Isn't it? It was unexpected. When a person opened up the Quran, he thought maybe he will just learn. He will just learn some facts. But a lot of unexpected good also comes forth from something that is mubarak. Now, the verb tabaraka that you see over here, the verb tabaraka is only used for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because He is the ultimate source of all goodness. The verb tabaraka is only used for who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He is the ultimate source of all khair. So over here, tabaraka alladhi, blessed is the one who, meaning He is exalted, He is sublime, He is the source of much, much good. And what is the evidence of that? That He is the one who has revealed the Quran. Just imagine, if the Quran is a source of so much benefit, it is so beneficial, it is coming from who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then imagine how much good comes from Allah towards His creation. That He hasn't just provided them with food, He hasn't just provided them with the basic necessities, but rather He has also provided them with guidance. So tabaraka, greatly blessed is He. Who? الَّذِي نَزَّلَ الْفُرْقَانَ عَلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ, the one who sent down the Furqan upon His servant. نَزَّلَ, يُنَزِّلُ, tanzil, what does it mean? To gradually send down something. Piece by piece. One thing after the other. And this is how the Quran was revealed. It was not revealed at one go, but rather parts of the Quran were revealed at a time. And over a period of 23 years, what happened? The revelation of the Quran was completed. So, نَزَّلَ الْفُرْقَانَ عَلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ. And Al-Furqan over here refers to the Quran, because Furqan is one of the names of the Quran. It's one of the descriptive names of the Quran. Now what does this word literally mean? Furqan is from fa, ra, qaf, farq. And farq, faraqa is to separate, to divide. We have learned earlier, وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ, when we separated, when we divided the sea for you, meaning the Bani Israel. So, faraqa is that something that was one body was separated into two portions. Something that was one body was separated into two portions. So, farq basically gives the meaning of division, separation, infisal. Separation, division. It doesn't necessarily give the meaning of breaking something into pieces, but rather it gives the meaning of separation, division. Farq is also used for the hairline, right? Because it parts the hair. And Furqan, the word Furqan, this is on the structure of mubalagha. So what does it show? That Furqan is something that distinguishes, that separates. But how does it separate? Very, very clearly. In a very clear manner, it separates two things. That each is distinguished from the other. Each can be seen as different from the other. There is no ambiguity, there is no confusion, there is no mixing, no. Furqan is something that completely distinguishes between two things. Clearly, greatly, excessively. So this is what Furqan is in the literal sense. Now the word Furqan is used in the Quran for several things. First of all, it is used for Quran. Similarly, the word Furqan is also used for Torah. It is also used for Torah. The word Furqan is also used for Yawm al-Badr, Yawm al-Furqan. Similarly, the word Furqan is also used for a proof, an evidence, an argument, hujjah. Now the Quran, why is it called Furqan? If you think about the literal meaning of the word, one that clearly distinguishes, clearly separates. Why is the Quran called Furqan? Why do you think so? That the Quran, it separates the truth from the falsehood. It shows the haqq as haqq, and it shows the batil as batil. You understand? There is no confusion. That when you read the Quran, you cannot be confused as to what haqq is and what batil is. No. It's clearly laid out what truth is and what falsehood is. Like for example, the oneness of Allah. Is that haqq? Of course it is haqq. Hasn't that been clarified in the Quran in so much detail? In so many different ways? So far, in the Quran we have learnt about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how so many examples have been given. The example of the fly. And so many examples we have learned so far. What do they clarify? The oneness of Allah. So haqq is shown as haqq, and batil is shown as batil. And each is distinguished from the other so that a person has no confusion left. A person has no confusion left. When he reads the Quran, he knows, okay, this is the truth and this is the falsehood. Similarly, the Quran, it also distinguishes between hidayah and dalal. What is guidance and what is misguidance? When is it that a person is following the right path, and when is it that a person is going off the right path? Similarly, the Quran, what else does it distinguish? The zulumat from the nur, the darknesses from the light. It distinguishes between halal and haram, what is permissible and what is forbidden. And it also distinguishes between right and wrong. So, this book, it distinguishes between many opposite things. But basically they have to do with what? Guidance. They have to do with a person's deen. So in other words, this book gives the criteria. This is why the word Furqan is criterion as well. It gives you the ability to distinguish between two things. Criterion. So this Quran is a criteria with regards to everything. That what is right, what is not right. So for example, when it comes to belief, what belief is correct and what belief is incorrect. When it comes to the manners of eating, when it comes to what a person should eat, what should a person eat, what should a person not eat. The Quran gives you the criteria, isn't it? We learned earlier that do not eat of that animal who was not slaughtered for the sake of Allah, meaning on whom the name of Allah was not pronounced. So that's a criteria when it comes to eating. Similarly, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to traveling, when it comes to etiquettes, when it comes to different types of manners, the Quran gives us a criteria. What is right, what is wrong. What should be done and what should not be done. So this is the book through which a person knows as to what he should do. This is the book that tells a person whether he is right or he is wrong. Whether he is on the straight path or he is not on the straight path. This is why the Quran is called Furqan. There is another reason as to why the Quran is called Furqan. And that is that in its revelation, some of it is separate from the rest of it. In other words, that the Quran was revealed part by part. Farq. It wasn't revealed in one piece, but rather pieces. Parts of the Quran were revealed, one after the other. In Surah Al-Isra, ayah number 106, we learn, وَقُرْآنًا فَرَقْنَاهُ لِتَقْرَأَهُ عَلَى النَّاسِ عَلَى مُكْثٍ وَنَزَّلْنَاهُ تَنزِيلًا. That the Quran, فَرَقْنَاهُ, we have separated it. In what? In its revelation. Why? So that you recite it to the people over a period of time. وَنَزَّلْنَاهُ تَنزِيلًا, and we have gradually revealed it. The Qur'an is also called Furqan for another reason. And that reason is that it will serve as a means of separating people on the Day of Judgment. That if a person lived by the Qur'an, he will be in one place. He will have a particular destination. And if a person did not live by the Qur'an, he did not follow the instructions that are in the Qur'an, then he will have another end. So this Qur'an is called Furqan. Why? Because it gives you the criteria as to what should be done, what should not be done in every aspect of life. Similarly, this Qur'an will be a means of separating people as well on the Day of Judgment. So, تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي نَزَّلَ الْفُرْقَانَ عَلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ. This is why greatly blessed is the one who sent this Qur'an, who sent this Furqan upon his servant. Because just imagine if this criterion was not given to us. If this book was not given to us, how much confusion would we be in? We would be so confused. People who do not know the Qur'an, people who do not understand the Qur'an, their lives are a mess. Why? They don't know what they're doing. They don't know if what they're doing is right, if what they're doing is acceptable or not. But when a person studies the Qur'an, when a person has a close connection with the Qur'an, then what happens? It guides him in every aspect of life. Then the Qur'an will tell you what you should do and what you should not do. So this is why تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي نَزَّلَ الْفُرْقَانَ عَلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ. And عَبْدِهِ, who does it refer to? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why is he called Abd over here in this context? Why is he called Abd? To show that he was really a human being. Just because he received the Qur'an does not mean he became some other creation. No, he was a human being. He was a special human being. He was someone very honorable, very noble, because he was given the Qur'an. However, he was a human being. And he's also called Abd because being an Abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually a means of great honor. If someone is called the slave of Allah, this is actually praise for that person. So نزل الفرقان على عبده. And the Prophet ﷺ is called Abd in the Qur'an at several places. And mainly, he's called Abd of Allah in a context where the revelation of Qur'an is mentioned. Like for example, over here. Or for example, in Surah Al-Baqarah we learned, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا. That if you are in doubt concerning what we have revealed over our servant. So the Prophet ﷺ is called Abd in which context? In which context? In the context where the revelation of the Qur'an is mentioned. Secondly, he's also called Abd in the context where he is being defended. Where he is being defended in his defense. And also where a great favor is given to him. That is mentioned where? In Surah Al-Isra, that Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-harami ila al-masjid al-aqsa. So why has this Furqan been revealed to his servant? لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا. So that he can be, for the worlds, a warner. Who? Yakuna. Who does Yakuna refer to? It may refer to Abd, that his servant may become a warner to the worlds after receiving this Furqan. And Yakuna may also refer to the Furqan, that the Furqan may be لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا. Now, al-alamin is a plural of alam. And what is alam? What is it? World. And alam is from alam. What does alam mean? Sign. It's also used for a flag. Because what is a flag? A sign. And a sign, it guides you to something. Isn't it? A sign, it guides you to something. And alam is used for the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because it guides you to who? To its maker, to its creator. And who is that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So alameen, it includes everything besides Allah. everything besides Allah. All the creation, whether it is a star, or it is a mountain, or it is a human being, or it is a tree, any creation besides Allah is what? Alam. Alameen. Why? Because all of the creation, it points to, it leads to its creator. It reminds us of who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is a world, there's an alam of the jinn, there's an alam of the human beings, there's an alam of birds, there's an alam of every type of creation. Some scholars say that alameen, it only applies to the jinn and the human beings, and not the rest of the creation. Why? Because it's only the jinn and the human beings that are mukallaf, that are going to be held accountable in the hereafter, that we know of. Thirdly, some have said that alameen, it refers to human beings, but which human beings? Of all times, from the beginning to the end. Or from now until the Day of Judgment. All ages, all races, all backgrounds. So, لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا, if you look at it from among all the creation, who is going to be held accountable on the Day of Judgment? Who has free will? It's the human beings and the jinn. So they need warning. And the Qur'an has been sent for who? For them. The Messenger ﷺ, he was sent to guide who? Both of them. Rahmatan lil'alameen. So the Prophet ﷺ was a nadhir for who? Lil'alameen. All of the human beings and all of the jinn. Not just the people of that time, but all the people who are to come until the Day of Judgment. Not just the Arabs, but people of all backgrounds, all races, all countries. So, لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا. And we learn in Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 158, that the Prophet ﷺ was told to say, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنِّي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكُمْ جَمِيعًا. That say, O people, I'm a messenger of Allah to you, to all of you, collectively. I have not just been sent to one people, but I have been sent to all people. Similarly in Surah Saba, ayah 28, we learn, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَّةً لِلنَّاسِ. And we have not sent you except comprehensively to mankind, meaning to all people we have sent you. The Prophet ﷺ himself said that بُعِثْتُ إِلَى الْأَحْمَرِ وَالْأَسْوَدِ, that I have been sent to the red and the black, meaning all types of people. So, لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا, this Qur'an is not just a criterion, is not just a warning for some people, but it is a criterion, a warning for who? All people. All of mankind. So in this ayah, what do we learn? That because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is the source of all good, from whom all blessings come, Barakah, and from Him much good comes to His creation. It is of His blessings that He has sent for the guidance of people, what? The Furqan. And He did not just send the Furqan by itself, but He sent the Furqan to who? On His servant, so that He would convey it to the people. And the purpose of the coming of the Furqan, the purpose of the coming of the messenger is what? To warn the worlds of humankind as well as the jinn. This is the purpose of the coming of the book. Nadhira, Furqan. This is the purpose. But what do we use the Qur'an for? Think about it. The Qur'an has come for warning, to warn the people. But what is it that we use the Qur'an for? Or what is it that typically people use the Qur'an for? The blessing part only? Or just to argue? What else? To ward off the jinn? If they feel that there's some jinn, or they feel that there's magic or something, that is the only times the Qur'an will be used. But we see that the Qur'an has been sent as a warning. The Qur'an has been sent to give us a criterion, so that we live by that criterion. Similarly, we see that the Prophet ﷺ, he was sent on a particular mission. And what was that mission? لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا. That he should become a warner for all the people until the Day of Judgment. Now he came, he did his work, he's gone. This responsibility now lies on whose shoulders? Our shoulders. So it is our responsibility now to convey this Qur'an to who? Al-Alameen. Because many times our objective is to only teach the Qur'an to who? Our children. To teach the Qur'an to who? Our people, our own community. And the rest of the people, we don't really care about them. But this is not the correct approach. The correct approach is that the Qur'an is for everyone. The Qur'an is for all people, whether they are from your country or from some other country. Whether they are like you or they are different than you. Whether they are of your age or they are younger or older. The Qur'an is for all people. This is why the Qur'an was sent. لِيَكُونَ لِلْعَالَمِينَ نَذِيرًا. And we see that this is of the greatest blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon man. That Allah has made arrangements for the guidance of people as well. And He did not just send an instruction manual that just has information in it. No, it is a source of guidance. It develops a criterion in people. It tells them what is right, what is wrong. And it guides people in all aspects of life. Whether a person is at home, or a person is at work, or a person is traveling, whether a person is at his friend's house, anywhere, where does he find instruction from? The Qur'an. The Qur'an guides us. And this book is, as I mentioned to you, is not just a criterion in this dunya, that it tells you what to do, what not to do. But at the same time, this is the book that will distinguish people on the Day of Judgment. That those who lived by this book, those who gave the haqq of this book, they will be elevated, they will be honored. And those who ignored this book, those who abandoned this book, they will suffer on that day.